Good morning. Good morning. And as you get here, make sure you say hello. Let me know that you're here. And if you haven't given StreamYard permission to see who you are, I'll just see Facebook users. So make sure you let me know who you are when you arrive. And I know yesterday I said I was going to get on and do a tutorial about how to allow StreamYard to see who you are so that you wouldn't have to do that going forward. And you know how life just gets busy, right? Well, I just got really busy and I was going until late at night. And so it didn't happen. And I apologize. So either today or tomorrow, depending on the schedule, because a lot of stuff is a lot of wearing a lot of hats right now. And so, either today or tomorrow, I'll get on and I'll share that with you so that you can make sure that your information shows up as you do, right? All right, so give me just a moment to go into the group and let everybody know that we are here. All right, so let me refresh. And I have a very juicy, or to me it feels juicy, affirmation and journal prompt because there was something that came up for me this morning. And as it did, I thought, okay, I think I really need to create an affirmation and a journal prompt for this one. So you most of the time, you can tell what's going on in my life from the the affirmations and the journal prompts that I create. Like I said, some of them have been created just like a whole bunch of them at one time. And then there are times that something comes up and it's like, oh, I feel led to speak on that one. All right. So while we wait on a few people to pop in, I just fixed me a new cup of coffee. This is my second cup. Depending on what time I get up, I usually will have a couple of cups before I ever get on here. It's so, and I'm fine with it being a tea, whatever. I just like the warm comfort of a morning hot drink, and that just makes me feel good, regardless of what it is. And I do love the taste of coffee when it's a good coffee bean. We're kind of the coffee snobs, and I do have a Keurig machine, and occasionally I will use it, but most of the time we buy the beans that we really like that are less acidic, and we make sure that they're ethically sourced and there's less likely they're organic. There's all these different things about them. And there's certain flavors that are good. I mean, just coffee flavors. We don't put the vanilla and all that stuff in there. And when I say we, I'm talking about my daughter, my adult daughter, and I are roommates. And so we live together in the house. And so I do the grinding the beans in the morning and put it into the French press and letting it sit for 10 minutes and then pressing it in. And so it's a very different flavor, and it almost gives me, one of the things I talk about is when it comes to enjoying your food and everything, is making an experience. And so my coffee is part of my experience because I just enjoy the grinding the beans and smelling the fresh beans being ground, and then putting them into the French press, having the water. I have a water kettle that has the temperature on there, so I can set the temperature on whether it's French press coffee or whether it is tea, organic. I mean, not organic, but whether it is a green tea or it is, what the heck? The word just went right out of my mouth. Herbal. If it's an herbal tea, it's a different temperature. So I love this. And I will say the one I had before didn't have the different temperatures. So I felt like I had upgraded big time when I got the newer one. And I can just set the temperature for what I want. And I will share, like, Christine is going to be talking on Monday. She's the chef that's going to be in and sharing some really nice, healthy recipes that are quick and easy. And she's been helping me a little bit with, I decided I wanted to make my own bread again. And it's been a long time since I had it. I wanted to do sourdough. And I will say, and I haven't perfected it. It used to be so easy. And part of it was I didn't have to worry at that time about gluten free. And now I do. So it's a lot different to cook things gluten free. You wouldn't really think it would be that big a deal, but it is definitely different. But the reason I'm saying something about this is because I didn't even realize it. It says warm water in there in the recipe. So I would just turn on the faucet, let it get warm, um, or I would heat a little bit of water on the stove, but I didn't even think about it. But I did look, and it is 100 degrees is considered warm water. So now I can actually set my tea kettle to 100 degrees so that I can put my tea kettle on while I'm doing some other things, and then I have the perfect warm water. Voila. So it is so much, it's amazing that it does so much, right? All right, so I am going to go ahead and jump into the affirmation. So let me have another sip of my coffee. Oh, yes. So as you're here live or you're watching the replay, let me know, is coffee your morning go-to drink? Or what do you do when you first get up in the morning that just makes you feel all butterflies and rainbows? That's what it does for me. All right. So let's get to this affirmation. But before we do, I want to explain a little bit about this. Well, I can go ahead and share it and then explain. Okay. About why this one showed up for me this morning. Okay. So the affirmation, embracing the new does not mean losing myself, but expanding the boundaries of who I can become. And the reason this one came up to me this morning is this is a new shirt. And I loved the color, and I didn't try it on beforehand. I loved the color, and I like a peekaboo shoulder, right? And when I put the shirt on this morning and I was getting ready, I kept looking at it and I thought, I don't know, do I really like that? I don't usually wear this up on my neck, and, I don't usually have this. And, the sleeves were a little bit too long and I rolled them up. And so as I'm thinking about all this stuff, I thought, wow, just getting a new shirt sometimes can stretch you a little bit into thinking, well, this doesn't feel like me. So I even went to my daughter as she was getting ready for work, and I said, okay, this feels so different from what I usually wear. So is it flattering or is it not flattering? She said, I think it looks really good on you. I said, okay. And so I thought, well, let me look at it with different eyes. So I went in and looked, and I thought, okay, I do love the color. And I know I have glasses on, so you can't see, but the color kind of brings out the blue in my eyes. And it makes my hair look okay. And then I started, okay, I can feel it now. And this is what happens to us when we create new habits, right? And I know you were thinking, what the hell has this got to do with that damn shirt? But it's the same thing. We create new habits because we want to have a different type of experience in our life. And as we start doing these new habits, they feel uncomfortable. They feel like that's not me. It's a different shirt. It doesn't feel like who I've been. And so that is the perfect analogy to me about how we adopt and we try on new habits. And sometimes they don't work for us, but a lot of times it's because we haven't given them the opportunity, because they don't feel like us. But looking at them through a different lens, looking at them where, you've got someone in your corner that can say, yes, keep going. That is going to be perfect for you. Just keep going. And, there is so much about community and that I love with the make lasting change. And I was almost late getting on here because there was a few more people wanting to be members of Make Lasting Change, and I had to go in, make sure that they'd answer all the questions, which two of them had. There were some that had not. And so they're still in the queue, and I'll be messaging them later to see if they really want to be part of the group. They have to answer the questions. And so the thing is that, the people in the group, it's a community of like-minded people. And so they can help us look at our shirt, our new habit, and say, ah, that seems golden. You're good, keep going. I can see the difference in you. You look happier. Your face is brighter, whatever it is. So go to the community as you're adopting new habits and just share. I'm trying this new habit. I'm working with this new habit, and it feels a little uncomfortable. And other people will chime in and say, hey, I've done a similar thing. It felt uncomfortable, but man, oh man, now is it great? So what I'm saying is, don't just automatically donate that shirt to Goodwill. Give it a time, right? Good morning, Kimmy. Good morning, Kimmy. Good to have you here. And so just to recap for you, Kimmy, I've been talking for a little bit, but I got this new shirt yesterday. And when I put it on this morning, I wasn't quite sure that it was me. It didn't feel like me. And because it's a different style, it's different. And but I loved the color. And so I ended up having to ask my daughter, because it doesn't feel like me, what do you think? And I was saying that that's how we deal with our new habits. A lot of times they don't feel like us. So we get a little uncomfortable on them. We want to take the shirt off and give it to Goodwill, which was my first thoughts when I put it on this morning, because it's already been washed and all that stuff. So I thought, okay, I'll just donate it. Thank you, Kimmy. And so it was like, I feel like it was such a reminder to me of the times that I have decided that I wanted to make changes in my life and create new habits. And they didn't feel like me at all. And a lot of times I gave up on them because they didn't feel like me. I thought that was an indicator that it wasn't the right thing. However, just like with the shirt, you said it looks good on me. And my daughter said it looks good on me. And when I first put it on this morning, and I kind of like it now, but when I first put it on this morning, I thought, I don't know. Do I really want this up around my neck? Do I like the length of the sleeves? Do I, I don't know. And then it's like, it was like, it's a little clingy on my hips. Do my hips look too big? It was like I was going through this rabbit hole of, I don't know about this shirt. And we do the same thing in our everyday life when we're trying to change something, because we start wanting to go back to the old us because that's where it's comfortable, even though it was uncomfortable, right? And so embracing the new does not mean losing myself, but expanding the boundaries of who I've become. So by keeping this shirt and wearing it and embracing it, I am expanding the style of things that I wear, the colors of things that I wear, the possibilities of new habits and how they can affect our lives, right? And so what I really wanted to do is, all this was going through my mind this morning, was how can I put that into words that helps someone? And I don't know who needs this today, but I needed it today, right? And I find that a lot of times when I need something, there's somebody else right there, right along with me, that needs it. And so whatever your new adventure is, good morning. Looks good, bright and cheery, and awesome color on you. Thank you, Facebook user. Who are you? Let me know. But the thing is we give up so many times on new adventures, new thought patterns, new businesses, new things. Ellen, thank you for being here, Ellen. Great to see you. But if you're thinking of something that you're wanting to change in your life, and it feels uncomfortable. Give it time. Give it time. And then the journal prompt is going to help you with that too. All right. So let me grab the journal prompt. And like I said, this was what was happening for me this morning. And I wanted to share with you guys that, I love doing these affirmation and journal prompts in the mornings. And like I was saying earlier, I have a big, I created a whole bunch of them at one point, and then I go in and I use them sporadically. But when something comes up for me in the morning and I think about it, I think, oh, that would be a great affirmation and journal prompt to help me and help someone else. So that's what I do a lot of times. And sometimes there's nothing really big coming up, and I just use one of the ones that have already been created. But like I said, this morning, this was definitely a big deal for me. An epiphany, I guess. All right, so let's get to the journal prompt. Hello, YouTube user. Let me know who you are. All right. Wait a minute. Something happened. What happened? Oh, there it goes. I don't know. There's something happening on the back side of this, but we'll keep going, and hopefully you can still see me. So let me know. Can everybody see me still? Something wonky's happening, and I just want to make sure. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So the journal prompt. Think of the new shirt. See, I told you it wasn't going to make sense. Think of the new shirt that felt not you. And how does it remind you of a new habit you're forming? And then I want you to write about embracing this change and seeing it become a natural part of who you are. And, a lot of times I talk about where a lot of times we want to make changes in our life and we want to go from A to Z, or even A to Y, wherever it is that we're wanting to skip, we're wanting to just leap into this new phase of us. And if we do something like that, man, that can be a shock to our system. And we can't stay there. We can't sustain that change because we didn't do the growth in the process. So anything that's going on is part of your growth process, and learn to embrace that. And so with this, I talk a lot about how a 1% change every day creates exponential growth. And I know 1% doesn't sound like much, but it's like if you ever look at the idea of compound interest and how it can balloon in such a short amount of time, it's that 1% every day. What it does is you're today, this is who you are. And then you adopt this change. You journal about this. You have new thoughts. Then tomorrow, that's your new normal. And then you adopt some more changes and you do a little bit more. And the next day, that's your new normal. And so it just becomes part of you. Yes, slow and steady wins the race. It sure does. And the thing is, like, if you think about people who, like, it's a money challenge that someone has and they win the lottery. Well, they are all of a sudden, they've got all of this money, which was going to be the catalyst that made their life amazing, right? And because they always thought, if I had enough money, I would be this, I would be this. And the thing is that the money was brought on them without the growth that got them there. And by growth, I mean they didn't learn anything about money. They didn't change any of their behaviors. They didn't do anything that would help them sustain the money. Now, some people have done okay where they got a financial advisor and they adopted new habits, slowly, and jumped into this, right? But majority of the people who win the lottery, within 2 to 5 years, they are worse off than they were before. And a lot of them are so deep in debt because they didn't know how to handle the money that came up. And so the same thing happens if, let's say, you decided today to open a new business, and you got the idea, you got a building, it's a physical place, you got the building, you put the stuff in it, and then the next day you were inundated with amazing, so many customers that you could not handle them all. Well, you're going to be under such stress that you are going to be miserable, and most likely your business will fail. Good morning, Terry, because you didn't get any of the growth of, you know, getting things started and learning and growing. And so that's what creating these new habits and everything is, they are helping us change and letting that change become the natural part of who we are. Well, thank you, Terry. Thank you. So remember, our affirmation for today is: embracing the new does not mean losing myself, but it means expanding expanding the boundaries of who I can become. And so those new habits are creating and letting us grow. And we need to make sure, or need is not the right word, if you really want to make this change and become who you've set your eyes on, your sights on, your heart on being, then it's going to feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning, just like my shirt felt a little uncomfortable when I first put it on. And it's wearing the clothes and wearing the ideas and the learning that comes with creating your new habits. So I wanted to do this so much so that you wouldn't give up on who you're becoming because it doesn't feel like you, right? Because it's not going to feel like you, because you're changing you. And if it feels like you, you've slid back into who you used to be. And because each day, as we expand who we are and we continue to grow and to become who we're meant to be, then it's never going to feel like, this is it, this is it, this is it. It's always going to have a little bit of, I'm not sure, because you're growing and you're trying on that new shirt, that new part of who you are. And so as you're reminding yourself of the new habit you're forming, I want you to embrace the change. So write about it. How does this new habit that you have are getting into your life and you're trying on for you, right? How does it become a natural part of who you are? And not to say that every, sorry, let me get a sip of my cup of joe. So it's not saying that every new habit that you acquire becomes part of you, because as you create new habits, you may realize that, I can do this better. And then you pivot. But you start here with where you are and what are the new habits that you feel would be amazing for your life. And that's where I said, come to the community and share what's going on for you. And remember, every day we're doing our self-care and we're sharing in the group, #PeachyVibes. And the thing that, I love, Terry, that the little shirt you put up is the right color. I just noticed that. And so the thing is that as you're coming in, and I forgot exactly what I was saying, so forgive me. But as you're coming into the community and you're sharing, I want to know what it was, is that, well, I already lost it. Oh my gosh, talk about messy. But as you're in the group and you're sharing things with people, I know. Oh my gosh, too funny. As you're sharing your peachy vibes, your self-care, part of your self-care is coming to peace with the fact that change is uncomfortable, and it can be less uncomfortable if you can look at it as being change is a part of who you are, because remember, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I've talked many times about a house that is cared for and loved, and and people are in it. It is amazing. But you leave a house to itself where there's nobody that lives in it, there's nobody that takes care of it. The rate of decline, and um, uh, decline is the only word that can come to my mind, that starts happening in this house, it just becomes faster and faster and faster the longer it's left to itself with no care. And we don't want our physical being, our spiritual being, our mental being to be left to decline, to deteriorate. Deteriorate's the right word. We don't want it to deteriorate. We want to keep growing and learning and embracing new habits and new ways to be who we want to be, who God chooses us to be. We surrender to that and the learning process and the fact that change is uncomfortable. But oh my gosh, is it amazing to have things change on purpose, right? And we want to have a vessel, not only our physical being, but our mental being, our spiritual being, all be cared for as we're changing and growing. Let's see. Kimmy says, I want to quit coloring my hair and just let my natural gray. That's what's new for me, because I fought the aging hair process. If I let my gray hair come through, no one would want to be around me, but found out people love my natural gray. So I've embraced it at 52. So much easier to manage, not all those chemicals too. So I love my hair. And I love your hair too, Kimmy. And I let mine go natural. Of course, I'm a hairstylist, so I still tweak things, just to have my gray and the white parts shinier and more vibrant. And so there's things that I do that help that. And I do that with a lot of my clients, because I have found that one of the things that COVID did was a lot of people decided to go back to their natural colors. And I have found that some of the people that have done that have embraced it, and it's beautiful. And then some people did it for a while and then decided, I still want to do something. And that's okay. And I love that you've embraced yours and realized that it doesn't matter in the long run. You can still be beautiful, whatever, right? And that's, I embraced my hair, but I embraced my hips. Okay. I'll just tell you that, because, and my stomach, because I'm still about 20 pounds heavier than feels the most comfortable for me. And there were times that I would stand in front of the mirror and I would really critique those 20 pounds, because I swear sometimes I think it's all my hips, right? And the thing is that as I've adopted a lot of different changes in my life, I've started to see the beauty in those hips and not constantly condemn them. And that's part of the embracing change, right? I embrace the fact that my body doesn't look like it did 10 years ago. And I will tell you, I fought my weight all my life. So I can say that at any given point, my body doesn't look like it did 3 years ago, because it has been such an up and down thing. And so that is all for about you and your hair, Kimmy, because I did the same thing. And in the beginning, I thought, well, I'm a hairstylist. Who's going to want me to do their hair if my hair is my natural color? And and I found that, people embraced it, and I'm constantly tweaking, how I like to style it now. And I used to make it straight, and, but I have one pic I will share that I love how my hair color. Okay. Yeah, definitely share it. And I'll share it, but you can look back at my videos just from, months ago, or maybe a year ago. And what I did was my hair when I was younger was very dark. And so I was all the time putting the dark in, but I loved having the piece in the front, and I would make it blue and I'd make it purple and I'd make it pink. And every now and then I still will put a pink tint in what I have. And it just makes it fun because I just like, sometimes I get into this thing, I just want to be different. And, and that goes totally against what I just said with my shirt, right? But we all have these things within ourselves. It's almost like there's an inner dialogue that goes on with, I want to be different here and I don't over here. And we we can second guess everything. And so remember, look at the things that you're doing, that you're changing, that feel like they're not you. And look at, what is that habit? And how can I embrace this change and see it becoming the natural part of who you are? And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing to recognize that all change is difficult until it's not. It's like learning a new habit, learning a new skill. It was funny when I let my color be, people thought I colored it on purpose. They asked what color it was. I said Wisdom Highlights 1971. Well, I will say there are people that will ask me, how did you get that white in there? And there are people that I do their hair and will make it the gray and the white. And, that's what they want. And a lot of them are really young. And so it's really become a thing that is a lot more acceptable in certain industries. Like I wouldn't want to be in the movie industry, the entertainment industry, because showing your age there can really be the sign of death, really, because you can't get any good roles or anything like that. It's and that I feel like may be starting to change, because a lot of the actors and everything that we've been seeing for a long time are beginning to age, and they're still getting some good roles. So, I feel like, for me, I don't do any Botox. I don't do any of that stuff because I've seen so many people that it's like it changes who they look, and they don't look like themselves anymore. And I want to be able to embrace change in my life and in my face, and but I'm kind of getting way off topic with this because I really want you to think about the habits that you have and how maybe they feel a little uncomfortable because it doesn't feel like you yet. And remember that when you say those words of this doesn't feel like me, add the yet, because it's beginning to become you. It becomes your new natural part of who you are. And so make sure you put your affirmation on your sticky notes, your index card, make it your screensaver, put it on the mirror with a chalk marker. Do whatever you can to get it in front of you so that you can be thinking of it and adopting that as part of you, right? And then your journal prompt, put that in your journal and make sure that you put at the top what the date is so that you can go back later and you can look at it and you can say, oh my gosh, look, these were the things that I thought were difficult changes. And look at where I am now. Those changes were so yesterday, right? And I want you to get to the place where you're going back into your journal quite often and seeing the growth process, because it's there as long as you go back and you look and you log today what's going on, because tomorrow some of that's going to be your new normal, right? And so as time goes, it's just going to feel like a part of who you are. And the thing that really makes me think of that a lot of times is sometimes I forget how far I've come with my weight issue, right? And I've shared pictures before of when I was very, very heavy. And those were not even my heaviest pictures, because as I got really heavy, I didn't get in front of the camera. I hid behind people, or I didn't get in the picture at all. And so when you see those pictures of me, that was not even my largest size. But I've been at this size, off and on, wanting to release this 20 pounds, maybe it's 22 pounds. And then, I'll put a little bit back on, and then I want to lose. And, so this 20 pounds has been in like an ongoing process for quite a while. And I'm okay with that, right? I've made peace with it, and I'm not going to stress over it. As long as I'm being my healthiest self, who cares, right? And but because of that being this 20-pound issue that I've gone with for a while, I sometimes will forget that it hasn't been that long ago that it was 75 pounds, it was 85 pounds, right? And so it is sometimes, if we don't have something that we look back at and we say, oh my gosh, look how much I've changed. And so sometimes it's not a physical change, it's a mental change or a spiritual change, right? And so that's what the journal prompts do, is they help us to go back and look, because there's not a photograph of us that says, yep, that's what she was struggling with. Yep, that's the habit she was trying to adopt and gave up on. No, there's nothing that shows that, like a physical picture of your weight, right? Your body. And so these journals and these affirmations, they help us to log what's going on, so that in a few months, and you may make enough changes that in a month you will look back at it and you can say, wow, that's what's going on now. And remember, all change can feel a little bit uncomfortable. And let's look at it as it's natural, right? And I try to look at it as, because it'll get like uncomfortable to where you almost get the little butterflies in your stomach. Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? That kind of thing. And so now I've adopted that it's exciting to change. But it didn't start that way. It took a while of incrementally working on changes. And like the shirt thing, it just came to me that that's what I do a lot of times. I try out a new habit and I say, oh, that shirt doesn't feel right. It doesn't look like me. It doesn't, and then I give it up. And so that was even more in my face this morning, that the thing that is important to me is to look at all changes as exciting adventures to discover who I want to be, who I choose to be, who I am, right? And so I know I've been all over the place this morning. And that's okay, because obviously it's what I needed to talk about. I hope that this has been good for you, and it has helped you in some way. And remember to go in and share your peachy vibes. And if you want to go back later and share some epiphanies that came up for you from this, go in and just tell everybody, this is the new habit that I'm trying on right now. It feels a little uncomfortable, but I'm good. I'm going to keep going. And just use the community for what it's there for. And if there's not a conversation going, start one, right? You guys are my founding members. You are the ones that are, each other. I love the way that you come in and chime in and help each other. It's amazing. And it feels, I cannot even explain how good it feels to be in a community with you guys, because you're amazing. And I love each and every one of you. And even the new members that I don't know yet, I love you too for being here. So as you are watching the replay, put #replay, share your thoughts, make a post about what's going on in your life that maybe you need a little bit of, yes, that shirt looks good on you, right? And talking about your habits, right? Because not everybody, it's not a shirt. It's really not about the shirt. That's just a good metaphor that helped me to make this this journal prompt and this affirmation feel like we know what it means, what's comfortable. Well, whatever, you get it. All right. Well, I have to hop off here now and get busy with my day. And like I said, I love you guys so much. And remember, Monday is our big celebration of everybody. And then remember, tomorrow 10 is Sunday, so 10 a.m. Eastern time, I'll be coming on live with a new affirmation and journal prompt for you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. Love you guys.